So the sitcom we are presenting is Will and Grace. We viewed season 1, episode 1, which aired in 1998. We also viewed season 6, episode 5 and 7, that viewed in 2003. And we also did season 6, episode 11, that aired in 2004. And the first character that we'll talk about is Will. So Will, I gotta hold up the name. Will Truman is one of the main characters in this sitcom. The major identity construct that he portrays is his sexuality, which is him being gay. It's not as easy to read as some of the other characters in the show, but in season 6, episode 5, he willingly admits it to his friend Jack when Jack asks him to be his gay spelling bee coach. Another one of his constructs is his age. He is best friends with Grace, and in season 1, episode 1, we find out that Grace is 31, so we assume that Will is in his 30s based on the fact that they both attended Columbia University together. When talking about his socioeconomic status, he starts out the show in the middle class. In season 1, episode 1, he is looking for a cheaper cost of living. But in season 6, episode 5, we see him move into the upper class when he is paying over $200 for a lunch. The last construct that we can obviously see is that he is white. This also went along with the fact that most of his friends were white, and most of the people that he interacted with at his job were also white. The next character that we are talking about is Grace.
So Grace, we can see that her age is 31 from season 1, episode 1. She's talking to Karen about getting married, and Karen tells her that she's in her 40s, and she says that she's 31. Her social class is middle class. In the first season, she's kind of in the lower middle, and as in season 6, we can see that she has moved up and is in the upper middle. Her sexuality, she is straight. She is planning to get married in the first season, but decides not to. And in the 6th season, she is married and moving to Cambodia with her husband. Her race is white, as we can see from her friends and something that is noticeable from her.
Okay, and the next character we are talking about is Karen.
All right, so with Karen, we can see her socioeconomic class appears to be middle or upper class. We know that she works for Grace, and she's attained her status in class and wealth through that, obviously. Her age can be assumed that she's somewhere along the lines of 30 to 40 years old because of her relations with her friends, etc. And with race, you can guess or assume, obviously, that Grace is white, just as her close friends, which seems to be a pattern in the show. With her sexuality, it appears that she is straight because she's had a husband at some point during the show. In season 6, she doesn't have a husband anymore, but you can see in episode 11 that she's seen sleeping with another man named Lyle, and even admits that she may be in love with him.
Okay, and now we will talk about each identity as it relates to the time that the episode originally aired, and the first one we are talking about is sexuality. So sexuality was the biggest construct that related to this time period, which was the 1990s. During this time, there were a lot of states that were ruling against gay marriage, but there were also some opposing states who were approving legislation to prevent discrimination against gays in the employment and housing fields. I believe that this show really shows that gay people should be able to experience the same things that any other person would, and it's also meant to show gay people that they should be comfortable in their own bodies and be able to come out to their friends and family if they would want to. Okay, and the next one we are talking about is race.
So in the show, all the main characters are white, and this is something that is seen in many of the shows at the time. At this time, Friends was also airing, which is also a group of white people, and it shows that there weren't really any minority TV shows around that time.
Okay, and the next one we are talking about is age.
So the age identity was important in this show because it made it seem more acceptable, and just the fact that, just like the show Friends, for everyone around the same age of 30 to be able to live together and just live in harmony and be able to live in peace and all that kind of stuff. It just shows how the age is just a good factor at that point, and it also shows in this show that it's reassuring to know that their age, in that middle age, that they have a secure job or career, or, for example, even the ones that are in school are going for a good education to get a good career. So,
Okay, and now Alex will give our group answer for question number 7.
So the program and its characters are relevant to current society as they come across as very open with who they are and all aspects of their identity to each other. So that's something you would want on a larger scale in general society when you go out and about. You want to be open and honest about who you are, and how that relates to our group is through this education. We kind of have to meet a lot of different people and hear a lot of different things, and you gotta gotta keep an open mind and understand that that's them being honest. So there's no reason to be so down about it.
Okay. And now we will all individually answer question number 8 with our own opinions. So I believe that this show helped to show that it's important to have a different identity, but it's also important to be accepting of other people's identities and their backgrounds and where they come from.
The show really did good on showing the aspect of sexuality identity, because most of the characters were open about their sexuality, but it wasn't very open about race.
I feel like the show did a good job identifying each aspect of the characters, with the exception of age and race, which are rather straightforward. With the socioeconomic class aspect, I feel like it showed both sides of the spectrum well. For example, with Leo and Will when they go out to dinner, and with sexuality in Jack's case when he does a gay spelling bee at some point in the show, and with Karen, my character, sleeping with Lyle, another man.
This show helped me with understanding identity briefly in a greater way than I really imagined. It personally informed me more on the socioeconomic identity that it presents, which was something like I didn't really know much about when I first saw the show in 2012, but it was a great thing to learn from.
So what I got from the show is really that its identity is very complicated, and depending on who you are, your identity is really a huge part of what you the first thing you really lead with, and it can really be a major thing to push just plot for the show forward, or just in everyday life. It just might be something you lead with when you meet people.